friends. I miss you so much. Today's a beautiful day. So I wanted to share my read aloud outside with you. I'm in my backyard sitting outside with my pups. So if you hear anything barking, just ignore them. But I wanted to continue our treasure hunter story. And last time we left off, there was a giant storm and they were kind of stuck at sea. And so we're going to start off with chapter 2. And all this is like chapters in the prologue. So we haven't even started our real story yet. Prologue goes before the story. So there's chapters kind of just giving you some background knowledge on the family. So we're going to start at chapter 2. I waited and I waited, but my dad never made it back to the deckhouse cabin door. Through the forward windows, I could see waves crashing across our bobbing bow. I could see the sky growing even darker. I could see the life reservoir being ripped free from its ropes and flying off like a donut-shaped frisbee. I could see Dad, and suddenly I realized my socks were soaking wet with seawater. And I was on the main deck. Beck, I cried out, Tommy, Storm. My sisters and my brothers were all in the lower cabins, in the equipment rooms, where the water was undoubtedly deeper. I dashed down the 4 steep steps into the hall quarters as quickly as I could. The water was up to my ankles, my knees, and my thighs. Finally, my waist. Have you ever tried to run across the shallow end of a swimming pool? That's what I was up against. But I had to find my family. Well, what was left of it. I trudged from door to door, frantically searching for my siblings. They weren't in the engine room, in the galley, or in my parents' cabin. I knew they couldn't be in the room because it was a solid steel door that was locked tight and was off limits to us. So that's kind of what he's going through right now, which I just couldn't imagine. I slodged my way forward as the ship kept knocking and rolling from side to side. Whatever wasn't nailed was thumping around on the insides, the cupboards and the cabinets. I heard canned foods banging into plastic dishes that were knocking over and clinging coffee mugs. I started pounding on the walls in the narrow corridor with both of my fists. The water was up to my chest. Hey guys, Tommy, Beck, Storm, where are you? No answer. My brothers and sisters probably couldn't hear me because there was a tropical storm outside and it was screaming louder than I was. Tommy, who was 17, had the kind of bulging muscles you only get from sailing a ship your whole life, and had just put his shoulder into the wood to bash it open. Where's Dad? He shouted. I don't know. I shouted back. That's when Beck, my big sister, and Storm trudged out of the cabin. Now, there was water lodging in the bedrooms. A pair of 3D glasses was floating on the surface of the water, and Beck picked them up and put them on. She was wearing them most of our time, ever since our mother had disappeared. And Beck is our drawer, and she made a little note, and she said, I've had better hair days. Was Dad on the safety line? Asked Storm, sounding as scared and as worried as I felt. All I could do was shake my head. Beck looked at me, even through her 3D glasses were shading her eyes. I could see she was thinking the same thing I was. We're twins. It happens. In our hearts, we both knew that Dad was gone. Because anything on the deck hadn't been tied down, it had been washed overboard by now. From the sad expressions on their faces, I knew Storm and Tommy had figured it out too. Maybe they had been looking through the porthole when the life preserver went flying by. Shivering slightly, we all moved in to form a close circle and hugged one another tightly. The 4 of us were the only family we had. Tommy, who had been living on boats longer than any of us, started saying old sailor sayings. Though death waits off the bow, we will not answer him now. And I hoped he was right. But I had a funny feeling that death might not take no for an answer. So we have finally finished our prologue of our story, and we're actually about to start our main story. So our next video will start chapter 1, part 1 of our story. I can't wait to continue this adventure with you guys. Bye!